Hello and welcome to the presentation where we will explore empirical validation of vapor-derived production variables, namely crop biomass and yield. My name is Abebe Chukala and I am a senior lecturer and researcher in irrigation engineering at IHE Delft Institute for Water Education. WaPOR has a crop production related data layer called net primary production, known with the acronym NPP. NPP or net primary production is a measure of how much carbon dioxide is converted into biomass by plants in a given area and time period. WaPOR NPP layer is available for C3 crop type and at 3 spatial resolutions. The coarsest spatial resolution is 250 meter and the finest spatial resolution is 30 meter. The highest temporal resolution of WaPOR NPP layer is decadal. The values are reported in gram carbon per meter square per day. WaPOR NPP layer is the base to derive crop biomass and yield. Crop biomass is defined as a fresh weight production. Crop yield is a marketable crop production output harvested per unit of land area. Crop biomass and yield are calculated from WaPOR NPP layer, which is the dry matter production reported in gram carbon per meter square per day. The steps include: first, the seasonal net primary production is calculated by accumulating the NPP layers within the crop growing period. That is, from the start of the season to end of the crop season. Second, the total crop biomass is calculated after correcting NPP layer for unit crop specific moisture content and light use efficiency factor. For non-root crop, further multiplying the total biomass by above ground over the total biomass fraction yields the total above ground biomass. Finally, the crop yield is calculated by multiplying the above ground biomass by the harvest index. Validation of vapor-derived biomass and yield is a procedure of comparing the vapor biomass or yield with the ground observed values. There are different methods to estimate the quantity of crop yield from a field or farm depending on the type of crop, the stage of growth, and the availability of data. Common methods include, for instance, crop cut. This involves harvesting and weighting the crop from a representative sample unit area within the field. The yield per unit area can then be calculated and extrapolated to the whole field. The other method is plant counts and grain counts. This involves measuring the number of heads or ponds per square meter and the number of grains per head or pond, and multiplying them by a grain weight factor. This method requires knowing the average grain weight for different crops. The third method is reported yield at field or farm level, or crop yield statistics at a province, regional, or a country level, such as example FAO stats. This is often based on the number of sacks or bags harvested from a field multiplied by standard crop weight that the sack can hold. In general, in the first two methods, these are only approximate and may not account for factors such as weather, pests, disease, soil fertility, or harvest losses that could occur across space in the field. There are uncertainty in all those methods reported or observed production data. Thus, it is important to use multiple methods and compare the results to get a more accurate estimate of crop yield. Empirical validation is the process of using observed data and statistical methods to evaluate the accuracy and reliability of calculated or simulated values. Empirical validation of the biomass or yield derived from WaPOR NPP layers can be done by comparing with the measured yield from field experiments or surveys and calculate the error matrix, such as root mean square error, mean absolute error, coefficient of determination, etc. Here is an example validation of the vapor-based derived sugarcane yield at Sinavana sugarcane estates in Mozambique. The validation is done at field scale between vapor yield derived from level 2 NPP layer and reported yield for 4 seasons and 3 irrigation methods. As the figure shows, the vapor-based yield from the level 2 NPP layer overestimates the lower observed yield and underestimates the higher observed yield. In general, the results shows that the vapor-based yield estimates were found to be comparable to the state measured yield within 20% difference, a root mean square error of 19 ton per hectare and mean absolute error of 15 ton per hectare. Thank you for your attention.